What's going on, everyone? This is Square Pegs. I am Jay, and today we are talking about the Panasonic 3DO. One of my patrons, John, sent this to me, and I did not expect this whatsoever. He brought this up in an Instagram message, and I've known John for years, and he said, hey, I've got some stuff I want to send your way. And I kind of thought this was old EA material that he was going to be sending to me. John and I used to work together. He worked with me on NFL Arcade, actually. And I figured it was going to be some memorabilia from our times working on EA. And yeah, there's definitely some stuff in there from EA, but this box that he sent me was ridiculously big, and inside of it was a Panasonic 3DO, something that I am super stoked to play. If you're new around here, please be sure to subscribe down below. I'm doing a couple videos a week covering modern and retro gaming, and I would love for you to give the channel a try. If it's something you enjoy, hey, stick around. Check out some of the videos we do. And in a couple of weeks, if it's something that you don't dig, go ahead and unsubscribe. No harm, no foul. I just appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me in the meantime. Now, I hadn't played much 3DO in the past. I remember back in the 1990s, I used to go over to my friend Jim's house, and he had a 3DO, and we used to play some games on that, and I was really fascinated by the system. I thought it was pretty cool, but it was so far out of my price range and so far beyond anything that I was going to be able to spend money on, that I kind of put it out of my mind. So when John sent this box that was, by the way, ridiculously big, not the size I anticipated at all, and this was inside of it, I was absolutely blown away. This is the FZ10 model. This is the second iteration of the Panasonic 3DO, so it's a little bit more reliable. It's got the top-loading disc tray as opposed to the insertion disc tray or the slide-out disc tray, which I am not a huge fan of. It just seems like an opportunity for mechanical failure, so I'm glad that this one is the one that I have in my possession. One of the things I do want to talk about with it is this guy, the controller. I do think it's kind of cool that they went with a 3-face button design, and I like that there's actually shoulder buttons. This feels like kind of a compromise between the Genesis and the Super Nintendo controller. It's not, I don't think it's the most comfortable controller in the world, but it's not terrible. I think its biggest flaw probably is the fact that it feels kind of light. Like the plastic feels a little bit cheap, like I could break it in my hands if I really needed to, and that's something that I notice pretty frequently. It's one of my problems with the 6-axis controller on the PS3 is it feels cheaper to me because it's so light. It's an incredibly light controller. One of the things I really like about the controller, though, is it has like a 10-foot cord on it, so it's perfect for setting up on your entertainment system and sitting on the couch and playing. I think that's pretty great. Now, I haven't had the console for too long. I've only been spending a little bit of time with it. I've had it for about a week now, so I haven't played every game that John sent me, but I wanted to look at 5 of my favorites real quick that I've had a lot of fun with playing over the last week. As a huge fan of all things campy and a big fan of kaiju in particular, getting an Ultraman game on the 3DO in this binder that John sent me was ridiculously exciting to me. I couldn't tell what it was because the disc is so messed up. It's actually got a sticker over the top of it, and I had no idea what it was, so I just tossed it in the system to see what the game was, and up pops Ultraman. Now this is fantastic. You get to control Ultraman, you go around and you're fighting other kaiju, and really, how much more could you ask for? The game is 1000% camp. It has motion captured graphics, kind of like Pit Fighter used to, or like Street Fighter the movie, the fighting game, which is another guilty pleasure of mine that I absolutely love. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this game is fantastic because it kind of controls like crap and it doesn't really look great, but for me, having something campy play poorly and kind of work poorly adds to the charm. This is a really neat discovery for me, and I didn't expect to find something this cool on the 3DO. I'm really happy this one was on here because, really, you can't go wrong with Ultraman. Now, the Horde here is a game that I think would serve really well from having an instruction manual because I will admit I'm a little bit lost on what I'm supposed to do, but every article I read about the quality of the 3DO and the best titles on the 3DO has this game on there, so I needed to check it out. And I gotta be honest with you, starting it up and seeing who I believe is a young Chris O'Donnell, aka Batman Forever's Robin, really surprised me. Like, I did not expect to see him on there at all. And if that isn't Chris O'Donnell, hey, good on this guy for getting the good genes and looking like a 1990s Chris O'Donnell. The game itself is pretty interesting. It's part simulation where you're actually kind of building a farm at a settlement and taking care of it and planting crops and growing crops, and you have to pay taxes and things like that. But you're also able to end every turn, and then you have to fight a series of monsters at the end of every season. I need to do some more research on this one, because I look at this game and I go, I am 1000% flummoxed on what I'm supposed to do here. But the way the game plays, there is so much promise that I need to play more. This game has so much potential that I just got to check it out further.
King's wizard Shumley cast a rain spell. Unfortunately, so did the Brotherhood of Mages and the League of Weather Witches.
How could I talk about the 3DO and not talk about its signature platformer game, Gex? Now, I remember Gex from the PlayStation days, Gex Enter the Gecko and stuff like that, and I didn't play those games back then. It just wasn't something I was into. Mascot platformers were reserved for Nintendo 64. So, getting to play this now, some 25, 30 years after it released, is pretty cool. And I'm going to be honest with you, this game plays fantastically, and it looks great. And one of the big advantages that the 3DO had over other consoles was how good it sounded. The audio quality in this game is off the charts. The voice acting from Gex it's frequent and it's constant, and it can get a little annoying, but I think that's kind of the point. Gex is supposed to be an in-your-face attitude mascot, and he has it in spades. The game sounds great, and it plays really well, and it's properly difficult at times. This isn't a cakewalk like some other platformers I've played. It's actually a lot of fun. Now, is it perfect? Again, and that's going to be a running theme on all of these games. Is it perfect? No, but taking into consideration the quality of the controller and the time frame of which it released, this is a pretty damn entertaining game. Gex is solid, and I can see why so many people rank it so highly on their list of favorite 3DO games, because I had a lot of fun playing it. All right, here's kind of the granddaddy of 3DO games. I think this is the one that everyone's familiar with, and that's Wing Commander 3. And how could I not play Wing Commander 3? It's got Luke freaking Skywalker in it. I mean, Mark Hamill just hams it up like crazy in this game, and he looks incredible. And the game, okay, props to Mark. Sorry, I'm a huge Star Wars dork, as you guys know, so I get really excited about Mark Hamill stuff. Mark does not mail this performance in whatsoever. He dives in headfirst and just relishes every second of playing his character in this game. Despite the inherent ridiculousness of a giant man and a lion head talking to him, Mark Hamill just goes, yeah, no, that's what we're doing. I'm in charge of the flight team. This is what we're going to do. Now, the game plays a little bit slow. It's definitely more realistic than other games, and it could be just the fact that, again, kind of like the Horde, I didn't have an instruction manual to know exactly what all the controls were, so I just kind of felt like I was flying at one speed the entire time, and it took forever to get from point A to point B. But if I remember correctly back from when I played this game in the 90s, that was kind of the way Wing Commander was. It was more simulation than arcade, and that's okay. There's so much to love about this game, from the over-the-top visuals of the characters to the fantastic controls when you're actually in a dogfight. Considering the fact that you don't actually have an analog stick here and you're just playing with a D-pad, it's pretty remarkable how well this game plays. Wing Commander 3 is a gem and an absolutely fantastic game, and something I am thinking actually about doing some live streams with down the road and doing some long plays on this. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested in that.
I am ready to engage.
Here's a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect this game to be as much fun as it is. And this game is called Slayer, and this is an advanced Dungeons & Dragons game. It is a classic dungeon crawler. This game feels, to me, like what the evolution of the original old-school Bard's Tale games on the C64 would have been if they had kept making them that way. This game just kind of flows and plays so well that I'm just enamored with it. And I'm already a D&D fan, so this was kind of hedging my bets a little bit, knowing that this game was based on Dungeons & Dragons, but I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy playing an old-school dungeon crawler. You start with your normal character roll-up. You're able to go through everything, adjusting your strength, dexterity, charisma, constitution, intelligence, and wisdom. Your armor class adjusts. You're able to pick your race, your class. Now keep in mind, this is all based off of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. That's 2E, so you're set to an older rule set here. So you're not going to have stuff like Tieflings or Dragonborn races available to you, or some of the classes that are more current in 5E. You're set to what was happening in 2E, but that's okay because that's what I grew up on. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons was my thing, so that's what I'm honestly more familiar with than anything else. So this was exciting to me. Now let's talk about how this game plays, because initially I was kind of worried that it was going to be choppy, it wasn't going to look great, but this runs so smoothly and plays so well that this just kind of blew my mind at how well this game played. I cannot wait to play more of this. And kind of like Wing Commander 3, this is one that I want to sit down and do some live streams with down the road. If you're interested in Slayer, let me know. I would love to play that with you guys. So first blush 1 week with the Panasonic 3DO, and what do I think? Honestly, it's pretty remarkable. I can see the flaws in the system. Like, I can see why it failed. Like, it can play backup discs, and I think that's kind of one of the signature problems of consoles from the late 1990s. It's one of the issues with the Dreamcast as well, that Anti-piracy measures weren't really in place, so you're able to just kind of burn an entire library. And for me personally, in 2021, that's great. I'm glad I'm able to do that. I can play it on regular hardware, I can play the actual games. Even if they are burned, I don't have to worry about emulating. But at the same time, I look at it and I go, well, that's kind of one of the reasons you failed, and also the initial price point was one of the reasons why it failed, and I think a lot of people were probably turned off by the controller. You know, at this point we were so used to things like the Super Nintendo and the Genesis and even the N64 and the PlayStation controllers, this one just kind of felt lacking. But the console itself is pretty remarkable. I have a lot of fun playing it. I think some of the games are really high quality, and there's definitely some fun to be had here. Is it a perfect console? No, it's definitely not a perfect console. It would still be around. We would be on the Panasonic 3DO now if this is something that was going to be relevant in the long term, but I gotta be honest with you. For all its warts, I find it pretty charming. I'd love to know what you think about the 3DO. Let me know in the comments down below, because I think there's definitely some great games to be played on the console. Definitely let me know what your favorites are, because I would love to check them out. If you're new to the channel and enjoy what we do here, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. And if you have not done so already, please be sure to subscribe. And while you're there, ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with everything we got going on. I'm doing 2 videos a week covering retro and modern gaming. If you really dig what I do here and you're in a position to help the channel grow, consider a monthly sponsorship on Patreon or check out our merchandise linked in the pinned comment down below. Until next time, guys, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Until next time, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.